I have to have an excuse. Hello, world. This is Edward Bevilacqua from Ciao Tutti and the Italian American Club in Las Vegas, and today we have the privilege to be able to fit into Sheriff Joe Lombardo's schedule. Thank you very much, Sheriff, for taking the time.
My pleasure.
And thank you for contributing to Ciao Tutti.
You are very welcome.
We also have Anthony Palmisano, who is owner of San Gennaro, big Italian American contributor, supporter, and who's responsible for our Rhode Island, the club that we support in Rhode Island, the Italo-American Club of Providence.
Yes.
The oldest one. The oldest club in the United States, charter club in the United States. So, Sheriff, again, thank you. And Anthony, where'd you go? There you are.
There you are.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So we normally start with what are your Italian roots?
It's easy for me to say Sicilian.
Okay.
Catania is where my grand folks are from, which is the opposite end of the island, away from Palermo. But they migrated to Chicago, Illinois.
Oh.
And so my dad was born in Chicago.
Okay.
And then eventually he joined the military. And then I was born in Misawa, Japan. So
on a base, right?
On an Air Force base. Okay. And then we basically bounced all over the United States and Europe until I finally settled here in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Wow.
So,
now, is your mother Italian?
No, she's German.
Oh, so that's like me, half German, half Italian?
There you go.
Okay, so my grandparents always said German engineering, Italian design.
There you go.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's the both worlds.
It works out, right?
Mix between a Ferrari and a BMW.
Exactly. Exactly. So, and then you ended up here, when?
1976.
Okay.
My dad eventually got stationed out at Nellis Air Force Base here in Las Vegas, and he eventually retired here. And I stayed also. You know, I did a little stint in the United States military, the Army. I was stationed in Fort Knox, Kentucky, and then after I completed my obligation there, I returned to Las Vegas and attended UNLV.
I see. And
eventually got my master's degree at UNLV.
What year was that?
You have to make me do a little bit of... Well, I graduated with my bachelor's in 1986,
okay.
And then I took a long period of time off.
Okay.
Military was intermingled. I joined the police department in 1988. So did a little bit of school here and there to get my master's. Eventually, I received it in 2003 or 2004. So
yeah, I graduated college in '79 at Santa Clara, but then I went to law school in 1990. So I know what it's like when you go back.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really, you got to be committed.
Yeah, it's a lot more difficult because I think the brain softens up a little bit.
Well, you're not used to studying all the time.
Yeah, you get into your routines, and plus you're dealing with family and your profession and everything else. So, but it was a good program at UNLV because it was an executive program where they accommodated your schedule. So it was 1 week every other month.
Okay.
So until you eventually graduated. Matter of fact, Bill Young, the former sheriff, was in my class. So.
Was he?
Oh,
wow.
Yeah. So
he doesn't talk about that. He doesn't talk about having a master's.
No, he does.
He didn't bring it up in our interview.
We graduated at the same time.
Oh, he talks about hunting.
Yeah, he's an avid hunter. We're actually partners when we go hunting. But he's a lot more hardcore about it. I go for the outdoor experience. He goes for
horseback riding into the wilderness.
Yeah, up in Wyoming. We usually go up in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and he spends a lot of time in northern Nevada. So
that's where he's from, right? Originally,
correct. Up in Fallon area.
So you're the first Italian American named sheriff.
Correct.
So, but did most people know he was Italian?
No. You know, with their last name.
And he didn't stress it.
And that's on his mother's side, obviously, and but he has some deep roots associated with that. He loves the Italian heritage and the history behind it. So
he said he likes cooking rabbit with sage, with his hand over a fire. So
yeah, you don't want me cooking. It'd be a little bit of a nightmare. So I can cook water.
Okay, well. How about you, Anthony? Do you cook?
Of course.
Okay. This is San Gennaro?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's a big part of San Gennaro.
And sample all the foods and make sure that they taste right and they're pretty much authentic.
He's surrounded by food all day. How's he stay so thin?
I eat protein bars in between.
So, let's
Italian
see.
ones.
You got here in '76? Is this
Correct.
Okay, and the population was about, what, 300, 350?
Yeah, right around 300 to 350,000 folks, and now
it
current
took off.
population's, I would say 2.2 million now.
Wow.
So imagine how much we've had to accommodate with the infrastructure here to adjust for that.
And you're always
population growth.
behind. You're
Yeah,
never
it
ahead
seems
of it.
like we are.
It's not like Detroit where you have infrastructure and no people.
Right.
This
right.
is
You know,
people-
it's every state has their own state flag and everything, and the joke here is our state flag is the orange construction cone because it's constantly under construction somewhere here.
Do you know the attorney Bob Massey?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so
Yeah,
he had
yeah.
told me something like that. He said the state bird used to be the crane.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So
Well, you haven't seen a lot of those in the last few years, but the economy's turning,
Yeah.
and the sun is rising instead of setting, and I'm hoping we're going to see a bunch of those cranes again. So.
and tourism's up a lot, right? Didn't it hit like 30 something back in 2009, 30 some
Right.
million?
We're up to we're estimating 42, 43 million this year.
Wow.
So that's a big number. And then if you look at some of the consensus that are out there, in the next, we're looking at about a 10 million increase, probably a million year over year. So
Wow.
that's a big number to accommodate.
Yeah.
So
Bill told me that 10 of the 12 largest hotels in the world are on the Strip.
That's exactly true.
Wow.
Yep.
And one of the things we talked about was just in terms of how people feel safe here is you could be walking down the Strip at 3 o'clock in the morning, drink in one hand, $2,000 cash in your back pocket, and you're not worried about it.
Right. Well, I hope that's because of the safe environment we're providing, and it's not because you're so intoxicated. You forgot about the money in your pocket. But
I think people drink because they feel safe enough to drink.
yes, and I'm actually proud of that because for us to be successful, we got to be considered safe, and because our mother's milk is that tourist economy.
Yeah.
And it would be detrimental to us to have a perception, no matter where you are in the world, that it's not safe to go to Las Vegas because then people won't visit. So.
Yeah, exactly. And so earlier we were talking about, I asked you the question of if you include the security in all of the hotels, which indirectly you control or, you're...
Right. Well, I don't control in any aspect. We have a very professional private security force in each one of these mega resorts, and we have well over, I want to be safe in the estimate, probably well over 16,000 professional security officers here in Las Vegas, and they help us a great deal because when we figure in our staffing models with the police department,
Right.
it's based on 1,000 permanent residents, not 1,000 visitors.
Right.
So they help us in that supplementing of the public safety. Now, but they also create a great deal of work for us too.
Oh.
So, but it's good.
So-
because if we didn't have them, it probably would be chaos here. So.
And would you say that indirectly then you'd be overseeing the largest police organization in the country?
Well, I wouldn't use the word police. I would say public safety.
Public safety.
Yeah,
okay.
because
all
they're
right.
not considered police, but they are public safety.
Okay.
Yes. For if you separate the term police, which
Yeah.
would be my police department, we're right around 11 in the nation. So
11 police and number one in terms of public safety.
correct.
Let's see. I was with somebody. Oh, John Ponder.
Oh, John Ponder, yeah.
So I was with him yesterday, and I said, I'm going to see the sheriff. And he said, very forward-thinking person.
As well as he is too.
Yeah.
For those you don't know out there, he's an individual that had a rough life growing up, and he decided to straighten out and go on the narrow path. And he's actually given a lot back to the community to help people that need a second chance. And
Metro.
I think it's important to remember that. So,
support. Metro is big supporter.
yeah,
of
big
that program.
supporter. You wouldn't think traditionally we would get involved in those type
Yeah.
of programs, but we've determined over time that recidivism rate is huge for us, and for us to get it on the front end so we don't have those repeat offenders all
Right.
the time. So
Yeah.
people sometimes need some help.
Yeah. In my day job, that's what we deal with all the time. But in terms of being forward-thinking, so we had a story written by you for Ciao Tutti. Well, actually, I think it was La Voce at the time, was regarding the cameras.
Correct.
How's that program coming?
It's actually going really well. I mean, it's the direction law enforcement is going. It's the direction that we need to go to ensure that we're being professional and what we say we're doing, we are actually doing.
Yeah.
And it also helps the public calm their mind that excessive use of force and all those other things that we get criticized for are not taking place. It changes the attitude of the police.
Yeah.
It also changes the attitude of the people we deal with.
Sure.
When they know they're being recorded, their attitude changes
says, put
greatly.
your hands up and there's on camera, they don't say no.
Right. So it took a little while for us to get there, though. I mean, our police officers pushed back in the beginning, but now they accept it and they look forward to participating in the program. So here locally, year over year, I'm increasing the number of police officers that are outfitted with cameras.
And do you start them in the higher risk areas?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
It's just basically how we can build out the infrastructure to accommodate it.
And then last month it was about the helicopters.
What do you mean last month?
Your last month's article. In
Okay. Yeah,
I know that was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was about how the benefit of a helicopter in public safety and police work, how it benefits us. I mean, nothing's better than a aircraft up in the air to give you an eye in the sky, basically, and to cover a great deal of distance in a short period of time. So it's a definite resource.
So now, I got a couple calls from people, not calls, emails from people saying, well, why did he say they're black? What's the significance of black helicopters?
You know, I don't recall that piece on there, but there is no significance as reference black. What it is we have a multicolored aircraft. We have 7 aircraft, and I've made the decision. We crashed one recently, and we're going to purchase a new one. I made a decision to color paint them black and white.
Okay.
So it looks like a police helicopter.
Okay.
You know, here in
so you're not going to think it's a news helicopter.
Right. Exactly right. Because besides a news helicopter here in Las Vegas, we have all those tour companies that are based out of here, and you can come here and say, hey, I want to take a flight to the Grand Canyon.
Right.
And so we have a lot of those aircraft in. So now when it's painted black and white, it'll look just like our police cars.
Is it going to have a siren on it?
Oh yeah, they have sirens.
Oh, do they?
Oh yeah, they do.
Huh. Now
they have a big speaker on there. They can talk to you on the ground all night.
Now, what about drones in the future? What's the policy?
Oh, that's the question. Well, there is no policy yet. I mean, we're limited in our ability by the FAA on what we can do with those. As the citizenry is, and the community is limited in what their ability is. You have to apply for a license in order to use one. You know,
even the police department will?
Oh yeah, because that's controlled. That's federal controlled airspace. It has nothing to do with whether I'm law enforcement or not. So, and we are in the process of doing it. I think drones are the wave of the future, just like cameras.
Yeah.
And because they're outfitted with cameras, they can help us with. You know. The biggest concern is the First Amendment, you know, or actually the Fourth Amendment, you know, search and seizure, whether we are invasive in folks, you know, the right to privacy and all that. But it can be utilized for surveillance, it can be utilized for photographs of crime scenes and or accident scenes, and it can help us in search and rescue operations.
Yeah, well,
you know, because a helicopter requires me to put human labor in there and a lot of maintenance and a lot of fuel costs and you know, so it's a big number per hour, whereas a drone, it's a very small number.
Well, and I would think if you have a hostage situation, having a drone would be helpful also.
We don't, you know, a helicopter requires a police officer to be in there flying, and you know, and they're in a position of vulnerability.
Exactly.
You know? An individual could shoot you in the helicopter. Well, we don't care if they shoot the drone.
Yeah. Well, you got.
I mean, we care, but it's not a human life danger.
Well, you have to be a better shot to hit a drone anyway, right?
Yeah. That's true.
It's a lot smaller. It's probably closer though. Might seem. And what about the little robot things you see on TV? You know, going and sniffing for bombs.
Oh well, they don't sniff. They evaluate.
Oh, I see.
Use dogs to sniff.
Oh, okay. So they don't have little technology hasn't.
No, it hasn't got that part. They have the cameras and they enable the individual operating them to see, you know, safely from a safe distance what they're encountering there. Plus, they have testing equipment on there, and you can actually outfit them with a firearm. So but they're instrumental in, you know, a lot of times when you have like barricade subjects or hostage situations like that, it's crooks don't get intimidated by like a robot as they do as a human being carrying a gun. So there's a lot of time you could do observations with robots versus the ability in a safe environment. So. Plus the bomb issue, the explosive issue.
Speaking of intimidation, somebody told me, this is off subject, but that dogs are the most intimidating. Is that true?
You're probably right in that aspect. You know, big snarling canine is a scary thing, and they are a great police tool.
Are they?
You know, we don't use them for crowd control or anything in that aspect, but we use them for chasing crooks, and we use them for searching, and we use them for detection. Oh. And but they are intimidating when they get mad. So
what now? The horses, that's for crowd control?
Yeah, it's crowd control, and it's also public relations.
Yeah. Now, horses, you see a dog, you kind of get worried. You see a horse, and you want to pet it.
But it's amazing how versatile they are, and especially when we have big events here like July 4th and New Year's Eve and things like that. They're instrumental in moving those crowds to where we want them to be. So
because people just
and nobody gets mad. People don't get mad at horses.
Do you have horses in San Gennaro?
No, not yet. Maybe
next.
Maybe in the future.
People don't get mad at horses though. They get mad at cops.
At the cops. Yeah. Because they're big and they're pushing the crowd away.
Well, but I think we're conditioned that horses are your friend.
Right.
You know?
The Lone Ranger.
Yeah. You know, it's part of the West. I talked to Bill about carrying guns here in Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
How is Nevada ranked with other states about people carrying sidearms?
Well, I guess the question would be, what do you mean by ranking as far as
is it like
numbers or
how many states can you do that? I'm from California, and I never grew up thinking you could walk around with a 6-shooter on your head.
I don't know how many states have the open carry law in the books. We do here in Nevada, where it's more. The question is how many states do we reciprocate with concealed weapons? And right now we reciprocate with 15 different states. And you say, well, how come it's not all 50? Well, a lot of states have different standards on carrying concealed weapons, and there's 15 other states that are comparable to what we do as far as certification, training, and ability. And but as far as open carry, and when I say open carry, that means any other citizen has the ability to have a firearm on their person as long as it's out in the open and it's readily observable by public safety.
So that's the key thing, readily observable.
You're right.
What if it's a shoulder
when you decide to conceal it, it's a whole different standard.
Okay.
And then, but open carry brings its own issues. People aren't comfortable with individuals walking around with a firearm.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, we're out in the wild, wild west here in Las Vegas, but we're a few years from that.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not like cowboys carrying a 6-shooter anymore.
Right. I'm not worried about rattlesnakes.
And there's no reason to make people nervous that are from Canada walking down the strip and they encounter an individual carrying a firearm. So.
Now, what's the procedure? What is your advice if you have open carry but you're in your car and you get pulled over?
Well, if you immediately show your hands, because
so
the hands are the dangerous item in any individual, and then you immediately advise the police officer that you are in possession of a weapon.
Okay.
So
if it's in your glove compartment.
No matter where it is in the car. So let them know that you have a weapon in the vehicle, and then they'll talk you through that. So.
Now, okay, so if you say I have a weapon, it's in my glove compartment. So will the officer say, what would he say?
More than likely, they would have you exit the vehicle to create distance from that weapon, and then just ensure that they are safe and that you're safe too. You know, so that he doesn't perceive there was you reaching for a weapon at any point during the.
You know, I'm only talking about it because it's kind of trivia, because you don't see in the paper stories commonly about this guy was carrying a gun and he misused it. And we don't have that problem here, right?
No, but I mean, there's always a chance of that problem.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it's chaos out there.
We don't have shootouts on the streets.
Right. Firearms bring their own issues, and granted, I support the Second Amendment, but there's a lot of responsibility associated with that. Just because the Second Amendment says you can have a firearm, you still have to be a responsible adult when you have an item that can implement death. You know what I mean? And very easily. So there's a responsibility that goes along with that.
Yeah. So Well, that was a little bit off topic from
Yeah, it was.
our Italian-American culture. So, one of the things that we promote through Ciao Tutti is Las Vegas is one of the 7 great cities in the world.
Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Why?
I
Why
love
do you
Las
agree with
Vegas. Why do I agree with it?
Yeah.
Because
And
everyone
you
comes
kind of
here.
live in 2 other places, right?
I live in Rhode Island and Florida, and here.
Uh-huh.
I think Las Vegas is the greatest city in the world.
Number 1. Okay, I put it number 7 in the
You
top
can do
7.
anything you want anytime of the day.
24-hour town.
Right. It's,
24 hours.
you know, it's absolutely true. Not anything you want, but
Well, most,
Yeah, right. Anything legal.
safe,
legal.
anything safe.
You know,
Yeah.
it's ironic here because you know, just about anywhere you go in the United States and probably in the nation or in the world, you know, the streets tend to roll up at sidewalks
yeah.
tend to roll up
9
around
o'clock.
1 in the morning
Yeah.
or whatever, and you know, but here they never do. I mean, it's interesting here because you have just as many people 5 o'clock in the morning out on the street as you do at 10 in the morning.
And working.
So yeah, exactly. So what Anthony says is absolutely true. You're able to go to the grocery store. You're able to go to the, well, not necessarily the bank, but just about anything entertainment-wise
Yeah.
at any point.
Great restaurants. The Strip has all the shows,
Yeah.
great shows. You can't get that in any other cities.
Yeah.
You know, so it's great in the aspect of tourism,
Mhm.
but it's also great in the aspect if you live here. I mean, a lot of people tend to separate themselves from gambling, you know,
Mhm.
when they're not at work or they go about their lives.
Yeah.
But the location where Las Vegas is in the United States is ideal. I mean, we're right in the center of snow activities,
Yeah.
water
Yeah.
activities,
And most people don't know that.
desert racing, you know, hiking,
Yeah.
camping.
I have no stress living here. Florida, hurricanes, the rain every day. Rhode Island, the same thing. You gotta worry about
Winter.
the snow. Oh, it's brutal, freezing. I love Vegas.
The
Your
interesting.
only stress is whether your air conditioner works.
Yeah, that's it. That's
They
true.
like the heat.
And one of the interesting things, Las Vegas, is there's about 100 miles of desert all the way around, right?
Correct. Well, the county, you know, a lot of people, it's a little bit confusing when you live here versus when you don't. When you think of Las Vegas, you think of all those hotels and everything
Right.
associated about Las Vegas is Las Vegas, but we're actually separated by a county and a city, and most of our hotels are in the county
Yeah,
versus the
Bill was
city.
saying, what, Sahara is the...
Sahara is the defining line, but it doesn't matter. What we care about is what other people perceive us as.
Yeah.
I mean, but if you live here, so when you talk about Las Vegas, is actually we're talking about Clark County
Correct,
also,
yeah.
and we're 7,500 square miles.
7,500 square miles.
Yeah. So my responsibility on the police department is 7,500 square miles. Now, granted,
And that
a lot of
goes
it's desert.
Is Laughlin in Clark County?
Yes, it is.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
yeah, it is.
But Pahrump is not.
No, Pahrum's not. That's in Nye County.
Okay, and they have their own police?
But yeah, they have their own sheriff's department, but State Line or Prim or Jean
Okay.
and Mesquite, and Boulder City, that's
Huge
all
amount
in
of
Clark
area.
County. So
Wow.
Henderson.
What do you do with the electric plant out there? The solar plant? Do you guys have...
Well, no, well that's on the that's
no,
on the,
there's one on this side.
yeah, there is, but we really don't have any.
There's no...
No, they
big
have their own
terrorism
security
plan.
there, and it's, I mean, that if the terrorism was to hit that plant, it's not like it's going to have an effect here in Las Vegas. It's that's all stored energy that's
Oh, I
doled
see.
out. So
So to do your job, you just have to know a little bit about everything.
yeah, you're right. You know, it's weird. We got to know about cattle. We have to know about horses. We have to know about robbers and murderers and
Uh-huh.
rapists, and we have to know. It's unique here. We have to know a little bit about everything.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't think that I would have to deal with cattle issues as the sheriff, but I do. So,
Right. Huh. And coming from California, the sheriff's office deals with the jails.
correct.
Here, you have jail and, right?
Yeah, you know, and that's right. The description across the United States is usually the head law enforcement of a county is the sheriff,
Uh-huh.
and then the head law enforcement of a city is a police chief.
I see.
But in 1973, because they basically served the same resources, we merged them. It made more sense. that we had redundancy in resources.
Yeah.
And so it became the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. So the elected sheriff is the head,
Okay.
and then the rest is all civil service. So it's
Right. So you're an elected position. Are you a member of the force, or is it? How does that work?
Well, I guess in
Yeah,
all
you run it.
practicality I am, but I had to retire as a police officer to take the position because I was elected. So it's a unique formula here. But I am the head law enforcement individual. And it works. It actually works here. It works good because I have total autonomy on operations, and I have a close relationship with the jail system. So
And the courts too, right?
in the
You're
courts.
the
So if you
bailiffs
look
and-
at anywhere else, say the United States, there's a couple other jurisdictions that are similar to it, like Memphis and Tallahassee, Florida. But usually the county sheriff has a very small police department, and they're responsible for the jail.
And
then where the city
Yeah.
has a big police department, and they just send their people to the county jail.
Right.
So I have it
So
all.
more efficient.
Right.
And
Yeah, I believe so.
And I think also because, as you're saying, the city line, a huge amount is in the county.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I think Bill mentioned this, and he said the other problem was where crooks lived.
Right,
they might commit their crime in the county, but they live in the city, and there's coordination and all kinds of things.
Right. I mean, so that would be like in other jurisdictions, you can cross into, say, let's use Los Angeles as an example.
Mm-hmm.
You could be chasing a crook, and you'll go through 9 different jurisdictions.
Oh yeah, right.
But here, that's not an issue. And you'd have to change your radio station and make sure you're with that police department and all that. You don't have that issue.
How does the highway patrol fit in?
They're support of our freeway system.
Okay.
They're good partners of us, great partners for us, but their predominant jurisdiction is the freeway system. So.
Okay. And so, are they the ones that people complain about, like, something happens on the freeway and nobody's going to come?
Well, I think.
Or isn't the new policy?
No, I think we're talking about 2 different things.
Okay.
No, we adjusted our policy in response to accidents.
The Metro.
Because we had diminished resources when the economy started going sour on us. But as we move into the future, we'll start working our way back into the old system.
So Metro is also involved in accidents on the freeway?
No, not on the freeway. On all your surface streets.
Okay.
On the freeway is responsibility of highway patrol.
Okay, so I thought I remember hearing on the radio that if you get in an accident on the freeway, the highway patrol's not going to show up.
No, they do. It's just that's the media getting it wrong.
Okay, got it. Okay. So if you get an offender bender on the streets, you're supposed to work it out with each other.
Yeah, ideally you work it out with each other and the insurance companies. But if you don't have say you don't have your insurance, or your car's not registered, or you don't have a driver's license, we will respond to assist you in that aspect.
I see.
The law mandates that we respond if there's injuries involved.
Okay. So did you learn a lot before you became elected and now? Or once you became elected,
I think
it's a big learning curve?
Yeah, well, it's a continual education because laws change and attitudes change. But yeah, I mean, it's. Let me put it this way: if you decide to be the elected sheriff and you didn't have police experience, you would fail.
Got it. It's just too complex,
It's just
right?
too complex and understanding of that whole profession. So I grew up in the police department, been here 28 years, and then I made the transition as the head of the agency. Now, I'm not saying you would be successful if you came from another jurisdiction and apply, but you would have to have quite a bit of experience in order to be successful in law enforcement.
And I think, to your point, because it's Las Vegas, a lot of sophisticated crooks come here too, right?
Right.
Follow the money, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of money engaged in here, and a lot of people think they got the scam of the century, and so there's a lot of sophistication that goes along with it.
Yeah.
It's unique here in our environment.
Well, you're not looking any older.
Oh yeah, I am. I think I got some more gray hair.
Well,
so I appreciate that.
Let's see. I know we've taken a lot of your time. We've gone way over the allotted time, but I just have one more question.
Sure.
Sauce or gravy?
Sauce.
Sauce. Anthony?
Gravy.
Gravy.
We have a lady who sells a shirt, says it's not sauce, it's gravy.
That's gravy. And
I've never been asked that before.
that's a mandatory Ciao Tutti interview question.
Is it really?
Yeah, and it's amazing how.
What's the answer?
I grew up in California with sauce,
Yeah.
but people, especially from New Jersey,
It's gravy.
and a lot of Sicilians, it's sugo.
Right.
But if you're Italian, so we had Panavino, Italian guys and guys from Il Molino that are Italians, and it's like, what do you mean? Gravy is what you put on meat. They just don't get it at all. For them, it's salsa.
Yeah.
Oh, one last question I forgot to ask. What are some of your favorite Italian restaurants?
Oh, well, I would be a disservice if I didn't say the Italian American Club.
Well, yeah.
You do a great job there too.
Let's see. I think you like Panavino, right?
Yeah, I love it there.
Yeah.
I actually go to their deli probably once a week.
Okay.
And I love the restaurant.
So yeah, I was with Vincenzo. Interviewed him a couple days ago.
And my other one is one of my favorites. Is my neighborhood one, Mastrioni's.
Oh yeah.
So
I was with Pete.
yeah.
And
You're gonna try
he told me
spaghetti
a
western.
story about that. I don't remember what it was, but he's a wild man.
Have you ever been to Duforney?
I have not, but
They show the spaghetti westerns
Is that right?
on TV all the time. The whole time you're there eating.
Well, he has a store here. It just opened.
Oh, really?
He's doing real good.
Oh, good.
Southern Highlands.
where is that? Duforney.
Town Center and 215.
Okay. Where else? You like any place in the forum shops?
Yeah, Spago's is good. I don't know if you want to call that an Italian restaurant, but
Okay. How about
Carmine's.
Carmine's?
Inside the
New York
forum
City there?
shops.
They're now going to be in Ciao Tutti. How about Il Molino?
It's good.
I ate there before. It was
Yeah.
very good.
They're all good.
Nora's,
Yes, very good.
Ferraro's.
Ferraro's, yeah.
Ferraro's.
Long time residents.
Long time, big
So they've been
supporters of
successful.
the community.
Yeah, both of them.
And well, Sheriff, thank you very much for taking the time to share online live for the whole world.
No, thank
and,
you.
the
Appreciate
Italian
it.
American community here. And thank you for contributing to the magazine. And it goes out to 7 cities now. And what other Italian American sheriffs are there that we can get to contribute to write stories in Ciao
No, that's a
Tutti?
good question. I have to do some research.
Okay, Anthony
Reference
knows
that.
Arpaio.
Oh, Sheriff Joe Lombardo, yes. He was my Grand Marshal.
Any
Arizona.
other ones?
Well, probably back east, there must be a bunch of them.
Okay, well, we'll find out. Thank you again, Sheriff.
All right, thank you. My pleasure.